Yes lads, back again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about how you can transition from a setter to a closer in high ticket sales. Now the reason why I'm making this video is I've spoken to a lot of people in the scene recently, and a lot of people that are maybe just started to get into the scene, a lot of people that I'm helping and like mentoring and coaching throughout their sales journey. And one of the most common things that I've found is that the people with no experience, rightly so, they're starting off as sales setters. But when I'm talking to them, they're saying things like, you know, I'm going to spend 6 months setting, I'm going to be like a setter for a year, and or I'm going to wait until I do this, until I become a closer. And I feel like that's the complete wrong mindset. Like, the core fundamentals of being a setter are still the same of being a closer. You know, you still need to find out their why, their problems, what their goals are, what their vision is, how they plan to get there, you know, all their pain points, everything that takes to set. You also need that to close. It's the same sort of emotional journey. It's just the close itself is different. The close for a setter is booking an appointment, and the close for the closer is obviously taking the cash and collecting the money and selling the product. Now, both of the frameworks that you're going to use, setting and closing, are the exact same. So if you have the same sort of system in place, you can transition into being a closer very quickly, as long as you sharpen up your skills on your final objection handling and how you actually transition into the close and your closing techniques. So to begin with then, 90% of people when they start off in high ticket sales, if they have no sales experience at all, I always recommend them to start off as a setter. And again, most people actually overlook this, but as I just said, it helps you to build the core fundamental skills that you're going to need to be a good salesperson. There's also less pressure as well, because again, you're only a setter, you're not blowing deals up. Most of you are going to be going through a CRM, cold calling people. You know, your pickup rate's going to be maybe 3 out of 10. And yeah, you know, there's no pressure on these calls. Obviously, you do need to perform, but look, people aren't going to be hiring you as a setter expecting you to be getting 10k per month in comms straight away. And as well, it's much easier to be coached. So, and this is one of the 48 laws of power, right? Is don't outshine the master. You know, the master, the person who's been closing for years, isn't going to really want to coach directly someone who's his competition. It's much easier to be coached by the closers and the people performing best at the business if you're just a setter. So have the fact that you're a newcomer and you've never done anything like that before, have that on your side and use that as ammunition to sort of get your foot in the door and get in with these closers and take their knowledge. So first step, right, is to actually be a good setter. You know, you're going to be helping the closers make cash. Your performance is going to be tracked. If you're not actually performing day in and day out, you've got no chance of being a closer, because if you can't do it as a setter, you're not going to get the role as a closer. So that's step one. Now, second, you need to have a good relationship with a closer, preferably the best closer. Now, how you're going to do this is by giving him a lot of quality sets and helping him with like his certain little admin tasks. You know, if he needs to chase up a client for something, if he needs to send out a contract, again, ask him how you can help him do that. You know, once you're making that closer money and you're making his time and his job easier, he's going to be much more likely to work with you and help you out throughout your journey. And then you're doing a value exchange. You're not just taking all his time and energy away from him, you're also providing value and providing money to him, which is huge. And again, having this good relationship with the closer is just going to allow you to work as much and learn as much as possible, which, you know, is the number one thing that you need to do when you're starting out in any industry. You know, the key to developing any skill is learning the knowledge and then applying the knowledge. And again, if you can tap into that closer, you know, you're going to be setting every single day, you're getting the knowledge and you're applying it. So once you're actually in this position where, you know, you've been building that relationship with the closer, you've got him some really good sets, he's got a lot of good closers, and now your rapport has really started to build and you two are starting to lock in. What you need to start doing now are walk-ons. Now, walk-ons essentially is when you're the person who joins the call for the close. The closer has his camera off, and then when the prospect joins, you're the first person they talk to. And the good thing about this, right, is that, you know, a lot of prospects, when they know they're about to be closed or they're hopping on with a demo with the closer, it can be quite nerve-wracking for them, because, you know, they've not spoken to this person before. They understand that this person's basically just here to essentially get money out of them, but, you know, obviously what we're doing is providing value. But sometimes people have like a bad perception of closers. So if that prospect jumps on and sees your face and hears your voice again, and you know, you're like, hey Jay, looking forward to see what's going to come of this call. Darren, you know, the closer, Darren's just away making a cup of tea. He'll be back in 5 minutes, so you're gonna have to put up with me again, you know, make a little joke, and then you're gonna edify Darren or the closer, whoever it is. And you're just gonna be like, yes, you know, this is XYZ, this is what he does. He's a really nice guy. I think you're gonna get on with him very well. The whole goal of the walk-on in the end is to get the pre-close yes. So, you know, you kind of want to finish your walk-on off by saying something like, all right, well, Darren's just sent me a text. He said he's going to be hopping on in 2 minutes. Just so I know as well, you know, if we do manage to find something that fits your sort of needs and can fix your problems and help your goals, then, you know, do you think you've been ready to move forward with something today? Now, most of the time they are going to say yes if you've qualified the lead properly when you were setting them, and that's what you call the pre-close yes. And all this time as well, the closer's camera is just off and he's listening to all this as well, which is good because, you know, if you start to mess up the walk-on, the closer just jumps in and be like, oh, hi there Jane, I'm back, I was just making my cup of tea, I'm fully refreshed now, let's get it, let's go. Again, so just touching on the walk-ons, you're going to edify the closer, you're going to gas him up, you're going to make him sound like the G, and just basically make the person, the prospect, feel like they're going to be in the safest hands possible to help them achieve the goal of what they're here to do and fix their problems. Now, what you need to do as well is once the closer then comes on, you need to be like, oh guys, just to let you know, I've got another call I need to go and take, or I've got to go do XYZ. Shut your camera off and just listen. And now you're getting to listen to a closer closing someone free of charge, and all you've got to do is just sit there and take notes and learn. Couldn't be any better. So you're going to make notes on only the main points. Sales calls, right, move very fast. You can't write everything down. Now, what a lot of people try and do is they'll try and write down everything. And, you know, by the time they've started writing one point, the next point that's been made, they're not fully listening to it because they're too busy writing. And then that means they've actually missed a better point. So what I need to say is when you're doing these walk-ons with the closer, you need to really be specific with the things that you write down. You're only going to get 1 to 2, maybe 3 key takeaways and 3 main points that person has done. And that's all you actually need to achieve, and that's success, because you're going to be doing this every single day. Next step then, once you've started to do a couple walk-ons, again, you and the closer have really sort of got this relationship down where you're jumping on the call first, sort of setting the scene, and then he's closing it on the back end. You then need to scale up the walk-ons. Now, what I mean by this is what you want to be doing is essentially taking up more time that you're on camera. So let's say your first week of doing the walk-ons, first 2 weeks, you know, you're turning your camera off as soon as you've done the walk-on. But as you start to scale up the walk-on, you're going to leave your camera on for a bit longer and a bit longer and a bit longer. Now, the most important thing here is not to steal the shine of the closer. That's going to piss him off and that's going to ruin his relationship. And to be honest, if a lot of closers watch this video, they're probably going to say that they don't want anyone else on the call. But again, we're trying to get setters to become closers, so we've got to do what we've got to do, or else we're never going to actually achieve it. Now, you also want to be asking the closer to do role plays as well, as and when you can. You know, just basically the way you want to package it right is say, look, I'm setting for you, right? So the better I am and the better my ability is, then the better sets I'm going to get you and the more money you're going to make. So once you've got to this stage, then this is when you're going to start to leave your camera on throughout the entirety of the call. You're going to be adding tiny little bits of info here and there. Main thing, do not steal the show. If the closer speaks 100% of the time traditionally, you only want to be speaking 20% and letting him do the other 80%. After this is going well and you've really got sort of a good relationship going and you're staying, you know, for majority of the calls, not just turning your camera off once you've done the walkthrough, then you're gonna have like the ultimate bromance with this closer, because, you know, if you two are making, let's say, you know, you're making 3-4k per month, he's making 6, 7, 8, maybe 10k per month, and you're the main person who's providing him those leads, the rapport and the relationship you guys are gonna have is incredible, because men are very loyal to the other men that help them make money. And that's the beauty of being a setter, is that our job is to make closers money. And we need information from closers. So you can see there how there's a leverage and an opportunity for us to leverage our skill as a setter to gain the knowledge we need to become the closer. So this is where we get into the main actual part of the transition from being a setter to a closer. This might come after, you know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months of doing this. You need to do it at the right time when the relationship's at its best. So, you know, if you've not actually set the closer any deals that he's closed from yourself, definitely don't do this. You know, You want to have closed with each other like 10 deals and, you know, have a really good relationship with each other before you ask this. And you're basically going to say to him, look, I think that we'd be getting more closers, or we'd be getting more money, both of us, if we were both attacking these calls together as like a little bit of a twosome, as a duo. Always remembering though that you've got him to fall back on. And again, 48 laws of power, right? Never outshine the master. So you don't want to be like, oh, I'm ready to put on a closer now, I want to start doing closers with you. You want to go, you know, I think I sort of want to like start to learn more so that I can help you better and understand your process. If I understand what you go through more as a closer, it's going to help me when I'm setting appointments for you. So I think what would be good is if we both started to attack these calls, and I did a little bit more of talking, but I've always got you to fall back on in case I ever mess anything up, because you're the professional. If you word it like that, you've built up his ego, you've told him the value that you're going to be providing to him, and he shouldn't really say no because you've already built a good rapport. Once this is done, right, and you two have actually then been attacking the calls together as a duo, you can now basically have these call recordings, and you essentially can just say, look, I am ready to now be a closer. That is literally it. And you've done it. Like, it's that simple to go from beginning as a setter, setting some appointments, doing the walk-ons, keeping your camera on for longer than the walk-ons, then attacking the calls as duos, and now once you've done that, you're now a closer. And that whole process, if you do it properly and you are a good setter who's working, let's say, you know, 4 to 6 hours every day after his 9 to 5, or you're doing it as your sole source of income, that transition should literally take maximum 2 months to do. Maximum 2 months. And that's why when I hear people say, oh, you know, I'm a setter, I'm going to do it for 6 months, I just think, like, you've not got the right mindset. Like, sales is a fast game. If you're taking, let's say, I don't know, 4 demos a day with the closer, and you're doing that 5 days a week, that's 20 a week, that's 80 a month. If that's 2 months, that's 160 calls. You're telling me in 160 calls, you can't get the skills that you need to learn to at least be able to a couple calls with the closer where you're helping him close the deal. That's all you need to get to. And then once you become a closer, you need to level up as a closer. Now, I am going to be bringing out a video specific to how you can scale your skill as a closer. So I'm not going to go too much into it, but the main thing and how you're going to sharpen your sword as a closer, you need to be making sure that you're reviewing all your calls, constantly searching for new information and getting new techniques, and always refining your process. So again, always thinking of how you can optimize your framework or the script that you use. You need to have measurable targets and goals, because how do you know where you need to improve and how much you need to improve by if you don't have something tangible that you can look at to help you throughout that process? And measuring all your variables, you know, answer rate, call rate, pickup rate, close rate, how much cash you're collecting. You know, if it's a 10k offer and you're only collecting 2.5k and the rest is finance, and you may be selling yourself short and relying on that finance option. And most importantly, to level up as a closer is get an actual mentor. You're going to have to invest your money into someone who is much further up from you, and what that's going to help you do is when you're down here, that pathway to get to here, you're going to do it very quick. Let's say the closer who didn't, you know, get a mentor, it might have took him 6 months to get up here. If you're learning from him, he's going to teach you that 6 months worth of skills and knowledge in 2 months, and you're at the same level as him now for much fraction of the time and most likely cost as well. And that is the complete guide from how you can transition from a setter to a closer in as little as 2 months. And if anyone needs any more help with this, again, check the link in the bio. This is literally my bread and butter. I have a mentorship program where I teach people how to actually go from a setter to a closer, how to scale their income if they already are closers, how to land a role if they don't currently have one, how if you're stuck in your 9 to 5, in 30 to 45 days, I can actually get you in a role that's going to help you replace that income directly. So you can be out here making beach income how life should be. I'll catch you on the next one.